We are learning more about what President-elect Donald Trump's cabinet will look like this morning. At least two major spots have already been filled, with the big one announced this morning. CBS News senior White House correspondent Weijia Jiang is live for us this morning in West Palm Beach. Weijia, good to see you. All right, so we can now confirm Trump's pick for both border czar and the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations. What more can you tell us?
That's right, Vlad. For border czar, we know that Trump has chosen Tom Homan, who worked with him in the first administration as the acting director of ICE. And then for the ambassador to the United Nations, Congresswoman Elise Stefanik of New York. And one thing that both of these people have in common, Vlad, is their loyalty to the president-elect over the years. They have been staunch Trumpers. They have been able to not only share the same view as Trump, but in both of these cases, be very vocal about it. If you look at clips, whether it's, on the House floor for the Congresswoman, whether it's testifying before the Senate for Tom Homan or during TV interviews, they are very able to speak the Trump language, meaning they are very brash, they are very to the point, and they don't try to dance around things that might be viewed as offensive, especially when it comes to the issue of immigration for Tom Homan. And so he really views this as a black and white issue, Vlad. Our colleague Cecilia Vega recently asked him in an interview whether there is any good way to deport a family, any humane way to do that. And he said, yeah, you deport the entire family. And so he views it as very black and white in the sense that either you are here legally or you are not. But he has also said, Vlad, that this isn't going to be a sweeping roundup of everybody who is here and undocumented. He says it will be very precise at first and going after people who are here illegally and also could be committing crimes. And, he says they have a list of people that they want to round up first, Vlad.
All right, and let me ask you about those other names that we're hearing that have been eliminated from serving in a Trump administration, including Nikki Haley, his former UN ambassador, and Mike Pompeo, who was both Secretary of State and CIA director during Trump's first term. I can see perhaps Haley, she ran against him for the Republican nomination, but in my mind, Pompeo has been sort of a loyal guy, a person who hasn't really said anything critical of Donald Trump recently. What's the deal there?
Not only recently, Vlad, but he's really been by Trump's side throughout, the time that he started serving as Secretary of State. And in fact, campaigned for Trump as recently as the day before the election. I was just talking to our White House producer, Sarah Cook, about why Pompeo, and we could not really figure out why he would be on Trump's list of people who would not join a second administration, except for perhaps he flirted with the idea of running for president himself at one point. Now, Nikki Haley's a different story. Obviously, she said very critical things of the president-elect when she herself was challenging him in the Republican primary. And even though she ultimately ended up endorsing him and said she would even campaign for him, he never took her up on that offer, Vlad. And we also know that Trump is somebody who holds grudges. And perhaps he has forgiven Haley, but he will never forget all of the things that she has said about him.
Yeah, the other thing, Weijia, that I was sort of thinking, and you would know better than I, but throughout the first administration, there were many, many articles about folks within the inner circle who were trying to temper the president's worst impulses. And oftentimes in front of the cameras, they were very loyal. They all said positive things. But when they were speaking to you and other members of the press, they would say, look, the president wanted to do one thing and we counseled against it. My speculation is that people like Pompeo were perhaps playing that role. And in this administration, he doesn't want any guardrails. You either toe the line or you're out. He doesn't want to hear any dissent from people, even if they may be publicly saying good things about him.
That is incredibly astute, Vlad, because you're absolutely right. There were people behind the scenes, and you can easily see how Pompeo likely challenged him in some matters when it came to diplomacy and when it came to building those relationships with allies, that in some cases Trump did not really invest much into. And that is why his foreign policy was based on the idea of America first. But, we don't know what happened behind the scenes. We do know that Pompeo, unlike others, has not publicly stated those criticisms, which is probably why Trump didn't completely throw him under the bus.
All right. For us, always great to talk to you, my friend. Thank you.